purpose of this video is to show you how to go about upgrading the software on your Jumper or similar deviation controller, and also how to install the software to allow you to test out the Bugs 3, which is what's called a test build. So starting off with a Walkera defuse tool, which you use to flash a new image to your Jumper, and there's various places to get it from. I downloaded it from the Google Drive using the Chrome browser. First point of confusion is there are multiple versions of this. The generally accepted version seems to be 2.31. So I'm downloading it here. And the good thing with this seemed to have everything I needed as a driver to run it on Windows XP, which is the most recent version of Windows I care to run on any machine that I've got. So having downloaded it, the next step was to download find the test builds where you're going to find the version that supports the Bugs 3. And it's a bit confusing because you find a lot of options when you get in there. So what you're looking for is Hexvet, who is the guy that's doing it, and you'll see Bugs 3 beside it. So once you get into that next screen, top of the list is the Jumper T8SG, and last time I looked there were about 7 downloads of that, and there was only one download for someone with a Devo7E and someone else with a Devo10. So the most popular testers for the Bugs 3 on Devo seem to be Jumper owners. So having downloaded those 2 pieces of software, the first trick is to install the Defuse, the USB upgrade tool. Yep, and it was version 2.31. So we're looking at it under Windows XP, which most people seem to say is the most reliable version of Windows for doing this sort of thing, but I'm sure it'll work with more modern versions of Windows. So this is the exe you run to install the tool on your menu. And having run that, you can go down to Start and bring up your list of programs. And the most recently added one, strangely enough, is the Deviation Upgrade Tools. So you want to run the Defuse, focus, slow down the camera, Defuse USB Upgrade. It brings up a colourful little screen, and then it brings up this screen. Now at this stage you'll see there's nothing in the ID bits. At this stage I'm plugging into the USB port on my Jumper. Mine is totally non-standard. Mine broke and I had to put a new USB port on the side of it, which is built out of the case, much like the modern yellow ones. So that works for me, so that's a point of difference. Anyway, at this stage I'm holding down the lower button on the Jumper, not the top one, and that, when I press the power on, is going to put it in DFU mode. And you'll know you've been successful because when you get back here, you'll notice that the vendor ID and the other 3 fields at the top that were blank have now got numbers in them. So that shows you've got a connection. And down the bottom, it still says Devo7E, by the way. Doesn't matter what you plug into this. So at this stage, you're now ready to flash an image. And an image is actually a DFU file. So I'm going back to my documents, and under there I've got a DFU image which was part of the download from the test build. It's the only bit you need for the flashing. So I select it within the Defuse upgrade tool, and then I open it, and you'll know whether you've got something that it likes because it tells you straight away. Down the bottom it's saying file correctly loaded. So that's very encouraging, and it shows you the firmware details up in that central box. Now, at this point, you get a very scary message about it's impossible to make sure this is correct. So normally you say yes and you carry on. Since it's just a demo and I don't overwrite what I've got, I'm saying no. So that shows you how to load it. And you can also, once you've loaded it, so you had done that, you can leave DFU mode, and it tells you it's done that, and you hear a beep from the jumper as it flashes back into normal mode. Because when you're in DFU mode, that screen is black. What I've got here is an earlier version, in fact using the original port on the jumper before it broke, and you can see it's part way through installing a version, an image on the for the jumper. So it's saying upgrading the firmware, download, please download phase. So you've got two phases, a download phase, and then once everything's downloaded, it'll swing into update. So apart from that one scary message about no idea what's going on here, you're okay. It's a fairly straightforward process. At this stage it says upgrade successful, and at that stage you can go to DFU mode and unplug your jumper. That's just demonstrating how my USB port was broken and would flap around. Okay, so back to today with the jumper, using my port modified on the side, so you can see the USB head. One end goes into my computer, so I'm back on my main desktop Linux machine now, and the other end is going to go into the jumper. So having that on, pick the thing up, and I'm now ready to connect it in a different mode. Instead of DFU mode, I'm going to press the top button, hold the top button down and press the power on, and that's going to come up with a USB symbol. So that tells me I'm in USB mode, and the computer recognizes the thing's a thumb drive, which is tiny, 2.1 megabytes, tiny by modern standards, but that's enough for all the files that the jumper has on it that it needs to run. Now normally there's a couple more files there that I've taken off because they didn't need to be there. The important thing is the models directory, because that's where you store the models. Now it comes with a whole bunch of default model, and then there's model 1 to about 30. Again, a quirk running under Linux is I can click on default.ini and it'll come up nicely, and you can see what's in these files. Channel 1, template. You're going to have to learn about it somewhere else. The important thing is you can see the fixed ID at the top. Okay, but if I try and open up like model 7, which is actually one of my Bugs 3 models, because you've got to stick to these names, you can't change the names of these INI files, won't recognize them. And I can't open it in my normal text editor, which is a bit irritating. So I have to, on Linux, I have to edit under a nano editor, and you can see it's the same stuff. I'm just highlighting the fixed IFD field that has to be changed. In my previous video I was saying this was one of the limitations of the current test version. You've got to obtain a fixed ID and then put in something like a 10-digit number, 11 digits if it's got a minus in front. So that's just showing bringing it up in this editor. Now this will be different under Windows. Hopefully under Windows it's still the case you can edit this directly. And if you're on an Apple, I'm sorry, it's not something I've used at all. So that's the only thing you need to edit directly here. So just showing what it looks like. So back onto the screen of the jumper as I'm ready to bind to a Bugs. So model setup, load, and here's, I've got lots of different models. So what I'm doing, because I've got two different Bugs, so I'm going down to model 7 that we saw before. You see the number 7 beside it, and that's the one that we saw the code for under models. So I'm loading that. And now I'm just skipping down to show you the fixed ID, the 10-digit fixed ID. Because this is found out by trial and error, you can't enter that directly through the jumper. You can certainly reverse channels for anything, which I need to for the error alarm, but yeah, so that's it.